A lot of people when they hear me talk about consulting and the act of consulting, many may think it's just a pure business play. And I don't want you to get me wrong. Um, all of the great benefits, the prestige, the results, the money, everything that comes along with consulting definitely weighs heavy in my conversation. However, there is another factor that drives my passion when I'm discussing consulting as a business model, but also consulting and advice and counsel as a way to navigate and solve problems. We've entered a time of great uncertainty and tremendous confusion. And throughout history, whenever there's been great uncertainty and confusion, there's been a premium placed on guidance, great guidance, and great counsel. And when I'm talking about history, I'm not talking about just recent history, right? Because that's why people kind of freeze when we're talking about consulting, because the only thing that we know about consulting, and especially when I first started studying consulting, it was I thought about rich white guys sitting, in office on the top floor penthouses in Manhattan or other places in New York, right? So consulting was just this thought that really didn't register. But the more and more I started studying, right? So that's why I say it's not just recent history. I'm actually doing a study right now. Here's a folder with, I don't know, dozens of pages of notes where I'm going into consulting, or I'm studying consulting from the perspective of all of the great religions of the world, the great thinkers, the philosophies, the culture, Afrocentric, African-centered perspective as it relates to consulting and that whole thing. Um, so consulting has been around since the beginning of time, but we just don't really know, right? So there was a time, there had to be a time when someone was trying to fix something or develop the first tool to go hunting or whatever the case may be. And somebody had some experience or some wisdom and said, you know what, maybe you should do it this way. He consulted or guided that person to kind of do it better or make it better, to solve that problem or create an opportunity, because that's what consulting is. So once I finish this study, and I'm going to be spilling it out as I'm going through it, but I'll come back to you and report what I'm learning from both uh, Bible and Quran, as well as other spiritual texts, as well as other schools of thoughts as it relates to consulting or counseling, uh, and how they played a pivotal role in the transformation of society and governments. Again, I don't want to get too far into that right now, because that'll take me down a whole, if I started naming prophets and messengers or different leaders that you know of. And if I started doing that, I wouldn't get through this, because I want to keep this video just a few minutes. So that study is coming, but it's safe to say that throughout history, again, whenever there's tremendous uncertainty, trial, difficulty, there's a premium place on great guidance and great counsel, which is consulting. And so 2025, it's the present time I'm recording this, just not even 2 weeks into 2025. And you can't go on any news website or turn on any news channel. If you're still picking up a newspaper or something like that, you can't read the headlines and not see uncertainty or uncertain about the economy, uncertain about global politics, uncertainty about wars. So that we're living in a time of great uncertainty. And the more and more people are uncertain, the more and more people are confused, the more and more people have to deal with tragedy, distress, challenges, problems. um, complexity, there's going to be a need for great guidance to counterbalance that. There's going to be a need for uh, counsel, advice, experience, know-how, strategic thinking, creativity to help solve the problems of the day, just as, going back to this, those prophets, those messengers, those thought leaders, those great thinkers solved the problems or gave advice and counsel to solve the problems for the challenges of their day. We have to be prepared to solve the challenges of our day. And so we've entered this time of great uncertainty, great confusion, and the need for great consulting or great counsel and advice and guidance is going to be at a premium. And that means that people are going to be looking for someone. Now, of course, the modern term is a consultant. That's why it's so confused, because the name has just become this modern business term. But you're giving advice and consulting and counseling all the time. And if not, you should be, right? And you should be seeking it. It's interesting how the scriptures even pretty much demand us to seek counsel and to give counsel. It's a demand. Again, I'll get into, I don't want to, I'm trying not to slip down that slippery slope and start talking about it. So that's why I believe that 2025 is the year of the consultant, because of those factors that I just mentioned. The great confusion, great uncertainty is going to increase the demand for great guidance and great counsel. And I want to just leave you with just two, and I got them here on paper, two scriptures. I'll come back later with some scripture from Quran and, again, other works. Like I said, I was shocked when I started studying all of these things. Um, but just two short scriptures from the book of Proverbs. It kind of speaks to what I'm talking about. Proverbs 11 and 14 says, where there's no guidance, a people, some translations say the people, but here it says, where there's no guidance, a people fall. But in an abundance of counselors, there's safety. That's Proverbs 11 and 14. Proverbs 15 and 22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. So these scriptures are pointing to how people fail, how people feel insecure, how things go into disarray, how their plans don't work out because there's a lack of advisors. But where there is an abundance of advisors or counselors or consultants, there's safety, there's security. Plans can work out because that's the job, that's the role of a consultant. And so study those scriptures. And again, I'll give you some more stuff as we get into some other videos as I'm studying it myself. But I had to create this video because I want to just start laying the base for what I believe, and I've already said it, probably the most important role for certain entrepreneurs to begin to take on, even if you're a successful business owner already. One, you should be seeking more counsel and advisement to kind of help you to navigate the things that you're going through, but also your success, your experience, your knowledge puts you in a position that you will be advising or consoling or counseling others who need your experience. So it's a two-way street. We should be seeking consultation, advisement, guidance, but then we also should be preparing. And this is kind of the arena that we're in right now. And so 2025 is the year of the consultant because of the factors that I just mentioned: the great confusion, the great challenges, the great complexity, all of those things lead to, oh, great uncertainty. I want to make sure I put that word out there because you're going to keep seeing it more and more. And whenever you see that, the only thing that makes that certain, there is no certainty. That then there has to be creative solutions, strategic thinking. All of these are the qualities of counselors and advisors, or those who take on the role of a consultant, is to do those functions, perform those activities to help navigate great uncertainty. So 2025 is the year of the consultant. And I would advise, here I am consulting again, I would advise you and myself to sharpen up all of the skills necessary so that we can be aided and we can aid others in a time of great uncertainty. This is your brother Bedford, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.